Carrie.
One of your choices, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the all-time greats.
From one absolute classic to another, we've got The Shining, Stanley Kubrick directed film.
Here's Johnny!
This is George A. Romero's third in his loose, connected zombie trilogy. 1986, The Fly.
One of David Cronenberg's greatest films, I think.
Saying I'm an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it.
From 1987, this is Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2.
Groovy.
So anyway, skip ahead to High Tension, and this is from 2003.
So this was your choice.
Had you seen it before?
I hadn't seen it until you recommended it. I remember hearing something about it, but I hadn't checked it out. So yeah, this was my first viewing of it, so I did not know what was coming.
Oh, that's cool. That's an interesting way to watch it.
I don't know if we'll try and avoid the twist or not. It's difficult.
It's difficult with this one because it's all about the twist.
Well, we just rip off the Band-Aid.
Sure.
Okay, so basically the idea of it is that our final girl and our antagonist serial killer, who's a kind of cross between, I guess, Leatherface and Michael Myers, the twist is that they are one and the same.
Espèce de taré! Je vais te manger la tête! C'est moi! C'est moi, Marie, je suis ton amie, je suis avec toi!
The film's about a young girl who's taking her best pal to stay at her parents' house in the countryside. And that night there's a home invasion. This Michael Myers type character comes in and basically kills this woman's entire family and takes her captive. But her best friend's been hiding
In the house,
In the house,
so we get
yeah.
a little cat and mouse thing going on and stuff.
Yeah. So it's very atmospheric, very tense. And then, like, as we've been saying, the last act, we realise that the best friend and the killer is the same person.
So you've seen this a few more times than me, so I've only seen it once, so I don't have a kind of clear grasp on maybe the mechanics and the themes of this, so kind of,
Oh, right,
I'm
okay.
going to kind of leave it to you. But what I enjoyed about, because there was a little bit of me was a bit like, this bad guy is a little bit generic, he's a little bit obvious, he's a little bit taking a bit of this, taking a bit of that, and then when you get the twist, you're like, all right, that makes more sense, because it's a sort of amalgamation in her mind of what a serial killer would look like, probably because she's watched too many horror films and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. It reminds me of Lost Highway, where you see things from two perspectives, like the way that it happened and the way he imagined it happened.
Yeah.
And this film's like almost these two things going on at the same time.
Okay. That'll be interesting to rewatch it
Yeah.
again and sort of see it from that aspect.
Are you sure? Of course.
It is one of these films you see a lot more the more you watch it.
Okay.
And I just enjoyed watching it again recently. I just love the music, the atmosphere, and the twist and the end. Yeah, it's one of my favourite horror films.
Cool.
This is Triangle from 2009, starring...
Angel from Home and Away, as she is officially known.
Yeah,
Craigie, I've forgotten her name now.
Melissa George.
Melissa George, yeah. You introduced me to this
Ah, okay.
a long time ago.
Okay.
Back in the day. I don't know if I would have even still have heard of it if it hadn't been for yourself. So, because it's quite, I don't know if it's got any sort of like traction particularly. It doesn't feel like it's like got a cult following that it might have had.
No, I think it's just me. It's one of my favourites. It does feel a bit low budget at times, but for the most part the effects are pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of, yeah, I mean, in terms of low budget stuff, I think it's mostly the visual effects and stuff have probably weren't top notch at the time, but have certainly dated a little bit since then. But that's fine. I'm fine with that. You know, if you've got a good story, good character stuff and all that, I can overlook the kind of some of the effects stuff. And some of it's pretty good, you know. And there's a bit where you've got the multiple, it's not Melissa George's character, it's the other girl. And you see multiple versions of her.
All piled up.
All piled up.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks really good. Time loop kind of horror, is it? I would say.
Yeah. So she's Melissa George she's quite a fraught character, and she goes away on a sailing trip with her friends, and they get caught in a storm, and they end up getting rescued on this big kind of cruise ship.
Cruise ship that seems to be vacant. No one's there. Yeah.
And they're being stalked by this mysterious woman, and they all get killed off one by one.
Quite quickly, and then you're thinking, where's this going to go? What's happening next? But yeah, like I say, it's a sort of, it turns in itself, it goes in time loops, multiple kind of versions of things are happening. You've got to kind of keep up with it. But I think, you know, if you're reasonably well versed in films like this, you know, you'll be able to kind of follow it quite well.
Definitely. I thought Melissa George gave an amazing performance. You know, it's quite a lot of tears she had to get to. Yeah,
and she's playing she's effectively, I mean, maybe spoilers in here, but she's effectively playing different versions of herself, I suppose. So, but the fact that you kind of always know who's who and where you're at, and you know, the sort of like you're never getting too confused with this kind of stuff is a great direction, I guess. You know, and the editing and stuff makes it all connect together.
And it amounts to something at the end as well when we learn more about her and her family.
Yeah, she's not perfect. She's certainly not, you know, a sort of someone with flaws and stuff like that. So you can relate to that kind of stuff. And, you know, we get a nice kind of bittersweet ending, I guess. You're not quite sure where it's going to go. Are we just going to be on this kind of causality loop forever and ever?
Yeah.
Will there be some kind of redemption of it? You know, that's all nice stuff.
Yeah, she's stuck there forever. Maybe slightly changing something.
Possibly, yeah.
You sure?
Okay, so we're going on to, I don't know what year this is,
2014.
2014. It Follows.
Never go into a place that doesn't have more than one exit. It's very slow, but it's not done.
And we recently watched Micah Monroe in Longlegs.
Yes, it's the same actress, isn't it?
Yeah.
So It Follows is a better film, I would say, than Longlegs.
Definitely.
2 logs, that suggests that you didn't like it and you're not really wanting to see it again.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. 2 logs for me. I think inspired quite a lot by Halloween. It's got that wide angle lens and the music as well.
Music's by Disaster Piece. He's done some really great soundtrack work on video games and stuff like that.
Okay.
And Fez is one of my favourite soundtracks. It seems to take place in a kind of timeless kind of reality, I suppose.
Yeah.
It feels like they're in the late 70s, early 80s maybe, but there's some technology there that's...
There's a lot of mobile phones about and stuff.
Yeah, or like the clamshell book reader that the girls got.
Oh, yeah.
I found that quite interesting.
That was different, wasn't it? It's basically that kind of stalker thing, isn't it? We've got a young girl who's been stalked by this entity that only she can see. And it's quite creepy. We always see this entity which can change form. It can be a man or a woman. And it's always like walking slowly towards her, wherever she is.
Hello? Hello?
She's got this stalker element through having sex. And it's kind of passed on with that. So there's a little element about, I guess, sexual anxiety. You could possibly read into things like AIDS and stuff like that could possibly be a factor in it. Even pregnancy or something like that, you know. There's a lot of kind of levels to it.
She could do the same thing I did. I mean, it should be easy for her. She's a girl. Any guy would be with you. Just sleep with someone else and tell him to do the same thing. Maybe it'll never come back.
Teenagers obsessed with sex in their minds a little bit, you know, you can kind of relate to that kind of stuff.
Sure.
That becomes a big sort of part of it.
I liked you too, you know. Why'd you pick Greg?
I thought he'd be okay.
A lot of good scares. Very creepy.
Simple but effective, you know. There's maybe a slightly more elevated scene at the end in the swimming pool and stuff. I believe, as we're talking, there's a sequel in the pipeline. Not sure what to
Really?
make of that, but
Yeah, you got to milk it dry.
10 years later to a film that I guess it's had a. This is one that's maybe got a bit more of a cult following, I suppose, but not a huge success. I wouldn't have thought at the time. It was okay, I suppose.
Yeah.
But They Follow, I think, is the title that's coming.
Okay.
So we will see. The Witch, this is a directorial debut by Robert Eggers. I'm a huge fan of him at this point.
Boo! There you are. There you are. Boo!
This was the first time I'd seen The Witch.
Okay, so what's your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know what to expect. So I was a bit thrown. I was expecting more horror, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
From something called The Witch. Like it says in the end, it's based on real documents and transcripts and things like that,
Yeah.
which I found quite interesting. I didn't enjoy watching it, probably because it was my first time watching it, but it'd be a more interesting film to study.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely not a popular film, for sure. And I think part of it is it was marketed a little bit as being the film that it's not.
Oh God, my Lord, I now begin. Now help me and I'll leave my sin. For I repentant now shall be. From evil I will turn to thee.
I mean, I didn't have that expectations going into it. So what I liked about it was just how authentic it kind of felt to the time period.
Sure.
To a fault, maybe, to a fault. Am I following every single line of dialogue in this film? Definitely not.
From my side.
Twas they in that goat what bewitched us all farm.
Lies.
Anya Taylor-Joy, I think it was one of our first, certainly one of our first main roles. And then you've got, I think it's Ralph Ineson, is it? Basically, probably better known to people as Finchy from The Office.
Hello, mate. Chris Finch. Yeah. Heard about blockbusters. Need more than that tonight. Heard about your Dostoevsky.
But he's like amazing in it, like, you know. So great performances. Yeah, it's not the film. It's not a film with a cackling witch chasing you about the forest and stuff like that.
No.
There's very little kind of that kind of stuff in it.
It's about the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very unsettling. And it's hard to get into it because you can't really relate to the characters, or you're more observing what's going on.
Sure, yeah.
Which is fine. But I find myself, kind of wanting to, who should I cling to here, you know?
Silence! Don't let her near me! She plays a curse on me! They conspire against me. I was in as a witch!
Nay, I'll not hear it. I'll have proof, or heaven help thee.
I can imagine back then people would think things like that because they're so.
Yeah.
We know so much about the world now compared to back then.
Yeah.
There'd be, people be getting lost in their minds with all sorts of things that
Well,
they
that's
can't
what-
explain.
Yeah, that's what I liked about the family drama and them imploding on each other, and you kind of understand why the mother starts to think that her daughter might be a witch,
Yeah.
which is sort of something that nowadays we could kind of like just can't fathom, But this film does a lot to kind of like go, I understand her. You understand why she gets to that point,
Yeah.
given what's happened to them and given their understanding of the world.
The bargain thou hast made is of no effect.
I made no bargain.
Thy soul belongeth to Christ.
I made no
The
bargain.
devil hath no interest in thee.
I am no witch, Father.
What did I but see in my house?
Will you not hear me?
I'm thinking about it a lot, which is a good sign, and
Yeah.
I think if I watch it again, I'll know what I'm getting, and I'll
Sure.
get into it more.
Cool.
But yeah, if you got an idea what it's about going into it, I think you might enjoy it more.
If you don't like it, then that's fine. Our last film from 2019, Saint Maud.
Dear God, your presence graces the air, and soon everyone will see.
So we're following a young girl in a English seaside town. I can't remember if they named the town or that, but
No,
she's a sort of
she's a nurse.
nurse doing palliative care for Jennifer L's character.
She's had a recent conversion to religion, but she's kind of gone all in extreme.
She's a girl who goes from one end to the other end, and we see that played out, yeah.
I'm ready and open. And I feel fuller of your love than ever before.
She takes it upon herself to save this lady's soul.
Yeah, she's in late stages of cancer. She's on, she's not got long to live. And I guess Jennifer L's character plays about with her a little bit, which doesn't help.
There's my little saint.
Maud, he isn't real.
One minute she's like the most pious, religious kind of figure imaginable. And the next minute she's giving hand jobs to guys in the back of pubs. It's more of a psychological thing, more of a sort of someone losing their mind, I guess. Would be the main reading of it and stuff. You could kind of put other layers onto that, I suppose. Someone who's fighting the devil, thinks that it's in every corner of her life and stuff and having to kind of battle that. But she's kind of like going way too far. She's damaged. She's psychologically adrift.
Because she's got a friend that kind of checks in on her, and she seems really nice.
Yeah.
But
It's just they're just kind of in different worlds at that point. She visits her in her flat, I guess. You get the feeling it's like the only thing she could get, because of her past, which we never go into. Yeah, and it's not huge amount in horror stuff and anything like that, but I just kind of like the sort of, an interesting new, I think it was the first film for someone Glass.
Rose Glass.
Rose Glass. I don't know anything about her or what she's done since. But
yeah, I think she's got a new film out just now. Really well constructed.
Yeah. Solid little film. Nothing that's going to change the horror landscape or anything like that. But it's a solid little film. Yeah, it does what it needs to do.
We can say that we recommend them all.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, you're a bit unsure about The Witch.
Well,
I'll let you off for that. It's fine. I quite like people not liking The Witch, so don't like it.
you want me not to like it?
I just want me to like it.
But what if I like it more?
No,
in the future?
you don't like it more. You definitely don't like it more. Yeah, I like The Witch. You just stick to The Shining. Okay.
That's fine.
Let us know what you thought. If you've got any recommendations for us, we'll have a look at them, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Trying to compensate.